This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're finishing up 6 Moral Tales by Eric Rohmer. The last 2 entries in the box set. Claire's Knee from 1970 and Love in the Afternoon from 1972. RJ, we're now basically done. We're not done talking about it. How are you feeling? How are you feeling going into this final installment?
How did I feel going in, or how do I feel now being done? Because those are two different feelings. I
believe. Well, both. How do you feel about both?
Going in, I went to a lot of people on the internet. They're going to have a lot of things to say about me, I'm sure. And then coming out through the other end, I feel vindicated.
Vindicated, eh?
Vindicated. I mean, we talked about it last week a little bit. Here's my stance, okay? I understand that when you have characters and you have characters in movies, it's not necessarily you. But here's what I think. If you do like 6 or 7 movies around things that are similar enough, it's because you really want to do it, kind of. It's like what you're about. It's your thing. Like if I only made a podcast about root beer would be my thing. You know what I mean? And I feel like Claire's Knee is very similar to that. Although I will say this before we get into it, I think Love in the Afternoon is the exception.
Of all the films?
Of the Rohmer picks. I think it's the exception of the Rohmer picks. But maybe that's just...
Okay. Well, we'll just say that. I think Claire's Knee, I think, is like definitely on this like peak of pushing what Rohmer's doing.
Yes.
And then like Love in the Afternoon is like a completely different film from everything else in a lot of ways. And it's probably far more, I think, in line with what you were probably hoping for, or thinking you were going to get since the beginning.
Potentially.
Okay.
Jim, so what do morals mean to you, Jarrett?
Claire's Knee from 1970.
Tell me about Claire's Knee.
From 1970. A synopsis. No tagline. On the eve of his wedding, on holiday on the Lake Annecy shore, a career diplomat visits an old acquaintance, perhaps a former girlfriend. Through her, he meets an intense teenager, Laura, and then lusts after her sister, Claire. Whilst Laura attempts to flirt with him, his fantasy becomes focused on wanting to caress Claire's knee.
Had you known about this movie before this week?
I've heard the title.
Did you know what it was about, though?
No.
And did you read the description before you watched it, or did you just dive in?
I think I read I think in preparation for these episodes since week 1 of the Eric show, I did kind of skim ahead and be like, what is Claire's Knee about? And I went, I see.
Yeah. Okay. I read it the day I watched it. I read it, and then I went like 20 minutes before, and then I went...
Okay. All right. So RJ also messaged me, is Claire's Knee the only movie we have to watch? And I was like, no, that would make it's the 5th movie of 6. And I was like, oh man, come on.
Well, I knew there was 6. It was just on our calendar. It just said Claire's Knee, and I was too lazy to Google Criterion list to look at what it was. I said I'll just ask Jarrett. I'll say what is the other thing to watch? I said you tell me, and it worked because you did tell me.
I did.
And then I watched it.
And you did it.
Yeah. So tell me about Claire's Knee, Jarrett. Well, tell me about how you're a big fan of Eric Rohmer.
Am I a big fan?
I don't know.
Is that one of your conclusions from the last 2 recordings?
I know Loveland is a big fan.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, Claire's Knee. It is set what looks a lot like Waterton to me.
It's a very nice place. It does kind of look like Waterton.
Yeah. So it felt like home. Right at home, right at
Yeah.
home. It made me think.
Mountainous lakes, things like that.
But it's a site of leisure. But it's also curious because once again, with Rohmer's films, we've got another site of European leisure, people hanging out, and getting up to no good.
Really?
So we have our career diplomat, a man named Jerome, who kind of reminded me a little bit of Jodorowsky, but like he could have also looked like a Gibb brother from the Bee Gees. Like it's just like this is what dudes look like. This was like the big mane of hair, beard, and it's like I don't know. This could be any guy.
Yeah.
And he's an everyman, RJ.
Like John Everyman?
Yeah. I mean, if you grew your hair into a loaf, get that beard growing, there you go. He's got it. It's happening.
Does that work?
He's got like a Dracula widow's beak.
Is this what you wanted?
Yeah. You're getting there. All right. So Jerome is on vacay, and he's going to because he grew up in this house that he's now selling. So it's like a family home. But he's like, I don't even get out here very often. I'm going to sell it. And so, like, the neighbors are just like, friends of the family kind of thing. But one of it, like an ex question mark of his, Aurora, who's a writer, she's staying at this place as well. And this sort of sets up this, I don't know what you would call it exactly. Not a relationship, but this back and forth exchange of a dialogue of, I don't know. This Jerome guy is kind of to me, feels like a loser.
Really? What else?
Well, but he thinks very highly of himself, which is like a lot of losers I know. And so this Aurora, I don't know. When I think about what's her name, who directed Fat Girl,
Cynthia Plath,
Sylvia Plath.
No, I'm talking about Cynthia. Way different person.
Yeah, Catherine Burlette.
Sure, if you say so.
Yes. So it kind of reminds me a little bit. Something about her reminded me of her. This sort of French intellectual, who's like kind of removed, but. This isn't to say anything about Catherine Burlette, but that's like this sort of type, I guess. But in this film, so she's this like intellectual, say, who kind of views everything in this very clinical way, and kind of instigates this Jerome guy who's getting married, into this behavior that he's going to get up to over the course of the next hour and 45 minutes, where he's going to perhaps seduce some young women. So of course this is a question of so these are 16-year-old girls. It should be noted that in 1970 France, that the age of consent was 15.
Oh, what is it now?
I have no idea.
I would Google it, but I don't want to get flagged by the FBI, so I'm not going to Google that.
I will.
No, Jared's got no problem. Sorry, you're talking about the author,
RJ,
right?
It as of this very moment, 15.
Still in France?
Yep.
Whew. Okay. Okay.
So
what's the age of consent in Canada? Is it 16 or is it 18?
Well, at one point it was 14. It is now 16.
Okay, I mean, it's only a year more, so.
Yeah, this is where things are malleable, RJ.
Malleable. What about ductile? Is that another word you could use?
Weeping tile?
Weeping tile. Ductile. Yeah. So you're talking about the author lady, right? I saw that like she was like playing herself or something. Like that lady is an author.
That makes
the
sense.
lady who like sets it up, kind of.
That seems like something that Eric would be doing and casting into and be like, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so Anyway, so this is some weirdos, right? So we have this woman who's like, yeah, I think Jerome, do you know how old Jerome is in this?
Jerome, if I didn't look it up, but if I had to guess, I would say 42.
He's 37.
He looks older.
He does.
Time has not been kind to that guy.
It's 1970. He's a rough 37 because he looks like he's on the later half of life. Like but his hair, but he's not like graying or anything like that. His hair is like quite full and brown and stuff like that. But I don't know. Yeah, he definitely looks a little more like haggard, which kind of adds, I think, to watching this and going, ew, because you're like, what is this guy doing? What's he thinking? And I think the synopsis is really bullshitty. And like I don't buy, like, whenever you read the synopsis and the plot points of this and you go, I don't know, I watch this movie and I'm getting something else completely going on here. This guy's not like, I'm just not that interested in her, you know. And like it's like cuddling and canoodling and kissing, and you're like, this does not seem like a guy who's just like kind of teasing this like 15-year-old girl. It's like, nah, this is pretty weird.
He's very handsy, is he not?
He is a little handsy.
Very handsy. And his motivation is to touch a knee.
Well, no. I'm not talking about Claire though.
Oh, no. With everyone, he's super his move is like the wraparound and the bring in for the...
We call it the python.
He wraps everyone close and pythons them, and he gives them little kissy lips for like 20 minutes. Like every person. Just
have you looked up Jean-Claude Brialy as he looks as of, I don't know, when did he die? I'm not sure how old this photo is. Yeah, he died actually in 2007, so he's actually been gone for a number of years, 15 years or so. Look at him. So are
you sending me a picture?
I could.
Oh, I thought. Well, you said look at him. I thought
in this one, he looks like a very well-fed Martin Scorsese.
Oh, you think he's eating a little bolognese?
Like a little cannolis?
A little pasta fazool, potentially?
Well, it's not this particular photo, but this is our guy. This is Jerome, the dreamboat.
Ah.
But this is the one where I went, is that Marty?
Ah. This guy looks like he eats a lot of olives, is what I would say.
You very well might.
A whole mess of olives.
Olives, yeah. This is like,
whole mess of olives.
So anyway,
yikes.
So, what's the first the first girl that he like the first hours him hanging out with? Bernice.
So he meets the author lady, and then are they her daughters?
They are the daughters of the host.
Oh, okay.
And she's the one, because remember they're like, oh, well, sorry, she was the woman she's staying with. Her daughter is Beatrice Roman plays Laura. So Laura's the girl that he spends the most. He goes on the hikes with and stuff like that. And he's like the one that's like, I'm not that interested in her. You're like, yeah, good on you, dude.
It's like
you're getting married, bud. And it's like, well, you know, I want to, but there's like this weird thing where this Aurora, the actor's name is Aurora Cornu. She's like wants to instigate this because she's as for inspiration for her own novel, and this Jerome guy kind of takes on this challenge because he's getting played himself. Because she's like, yeah, you know, you've never really been that interesting to me. Like you've never I've written about a lot of people, but I've never written about you. You're just not that interesting. Which she kind of like obviously knows is going to make him go, oh yeah, because he's a loser.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah, but he's just this diplomat, so he's obviously like well off, privileged, but he's a loser. You can still be a loser and be all these things, because he's like, yeah, I'm gonna hang out with this 15-year-old girl, and she of course like, you know, is receptive to this attention, I guess, from this 37-year-old man, I guess, because she doesn't have like a smartphone to chat with her friends, so she's just stuck with this dude who's like pestering her and hanging around.
Shows up in his boat. Are you alone? What? Are you alone? Yes. Want to go on the boat? Okay. He does that 3 times in this movie to 2 separate girls. Just shows up. Are you alone?
Yeah.
Are you alone?
Mm-hmm.
And you go, okay, dude. Interesting. And then they're like, what are you doing here? I just boating, it's just boating around, nothing crazy.
So there's kind of this like countdown because
Yeah.
the movie's kind of broken up into dates over the course of a month in summer. Because like there's this comment, it's like, oh yeah, my stepsister Claire, she's coming, and she's gonna be here in a few days. And there's this whole time he's like, it feels like a courting, but he's kind of like, well, I'm just not, it's not my thing. I could never do that. Oh no. And then the Claire shows up, the blonde, the Raquel Welch of like 1 million years BC. She shows up, and of course he's kind of like, she's got like a boyfriend kind of that she's hanging out with.
Yeah, Dudu likes to wear his shirt open.
Yeah.
Frequently.
Wow. I mean, it was the 70s, RJ.
World.
Yeah.
Well.
And anyway, at some point, she's like kind of like up on a ladder, and this Jerome spies her legs and becomes very enamored, fetishizing her knee. And it's just suddenly it's like, I don't know, I just don't know what it is about this girl. I mean, I just really want to touch her knee. And
yeah, that is what he says.
And this is at about 58 minutes and 30 seconds into the movie.
That the knee thing
The
comes
knee
up?
thing, that's when he looks, and there's a shot of him looking at this knee. And then the kind of like the rest of the movie is him like working on this.
Yeah, and he openly talks about it to that lady. He's like, yeah, I just kind of want to touch her knee,
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, go on. He's like, no, that's it. He's like, and she's like, well, just touch it by accident. He's like, no, the touch needs to be accepted. It needs to be wanted.
Yeah.
They need to want me to touch their knee. I cannot just touch a knee.
Yeah.
With not a wanting to touch a knee.
Yeah. So Laura obviously starts picking up on the fact that Jerome has lost interest in her.
Yes.
And now it's like all about Claire. Even though, like, I guess one would argue Laura is like far more interesting of a person than Claire, who's just kind of like, like just a 16-year-old boring girl.
She's just a kid.
She's just
hanging out on summer holiday.
Just a kid. And this guy's like, yeah, I gotta really break her down. I gotta try to like create this situation where I can really like fulfill what I want to do. Just want to touch her knee a little bit. And it's like, I think it's like when it ends with like, I don't know, in the rain with her crying because he's like telling her that he saw her boyfriend with some other girl. She's crying. He's like, yeah, hand on the knee.
He said, he goes, I know that you are better than her, or than him. You deserve a better. He is just a boy. You deserve a man. Man who will not do these things to you. That's a French accent, by the way.
So Vincent Canby, the film critic, called Claire's Knee something close to a perfect film.
Who said that?
Vincent Canby.
And who is this individual?
He was a film critic for the New York Times from like 1969 to the early 90s. He loved that French New Wave.
How's the New York Times doing now?
I mean, they're still in business. They got Wordle, don't they? You know about Wordle?
I know a lot of people at work play Wordle, and I get asked every day, "You on the Wordle?" And I go,
"Nah." How many guesses did it take you? And you go, "I don't know."
I said,
I
said all of them.
My answer is always, I got it in the first try.
Yeah. I always just say all of them. How many guesses? All of them. Yeah. And they're like, all of them? I'll go, yeah, I don't know how much that is. I just say, all of them.
So Rohmer.
Yeah, what about him?
This is the second film he shot in color, and he explained, the presence of the lake and the mountains is stronger in color than in black and white. It is a film I couldn't imagine in black and white. The color green seems to me essential in that film. This film would have no value to me in black and white. Huge.
No value?
No value. Oh,
Okay.
you're gonna have to. How does green play into this movie, RJ? I can't see it.
Green?
Green. Yeah,
Some of the plants were green.
okay. I'm
Like,
colorblind, so I don't know. Yeah,
I mean,
it looked like a regular old movie. It was it was a nice looking movie, nice scenery,
I mean,
nice shots, But from
yeah.
Nestor once again, Nestor Almendros really knows how to shoot a picture, but I didn't really notice anything specifically about color going on per se.
I mean, honestly, genuinely, like the trees are green. That's it.
Oh, cool.
That like, yeah, so, yeah.
Are you gonna do you feel like you could start dressing like Jerome in your day to day life?
I kind of do already, which is kind of troubling.
Get that hat.
I mean, the hat's not bad. I'll say
Ooh.
it's not the worst hat.
So what you're saying is you found Jerome very relatable. Very relatable.
Hat style.
He's
I don't own a hat like that.
he's your kind of guy.
I think, I mean, Sam Loveland's not here to speak for himself, so I'll just say he's Sam's kind of guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And his comment on my Letterboxd post would suggest the same.
Because he knows it's going to be more of the same. Even
Because it's
so,
more of the same.
yeah. I mean, I will say that old Claire's knee. It's I think I liked this movie for about the first hour. I don't liked is a strong word. I didn't mind watching it, and then I think after like the Claire's knee, like just what it was going to turn into from that point forward, I was just like, this is just kind of like this is the gear it is in, and I don't know. I would not recommend anyone watch this movie like ever in a million years. I don't know why even it's an interesting title for a film, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna like, yep, moving right along.
So, Jarrett, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What do you think is the moral of this story?
I think these are bad people. I mean, this picture, these aren't very like. This is some Epstein vibes, RJ. Because so this is the thing that I will. Cause, there's people talk about Epstein and what's her face. That this is like this.
Yeah.
They even kind of look like them in some ways.
Kinda,
well,
yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell, or whatever. But I don't think I don't think that what these people do, they don't think it's even wrong.
No, they don't.
They think it's like this is fine. and that's why they're fucked. And it's like they're losers.
Yep. Well, I mean,
because they're like, oh, what? They're getting something out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So anyway,
I'm glad you think so, because that's how I felt too.
I'm sure. I know. But I feel like there's nothing for me. I don't feel like I need to defend Claire's knee in any way. I'm kind of just like, well, but at the same time, I don't think Eric Rohmer is like, yeah, Jerome's cool. This is what I love to do. I will say that like, for the amount of duration of time that we spend with this, I don't know. I need something a little bit more like eviscerating or like biting to like drive home that a little bit. Like that's what I love about Todd Solondz movies. Is like he depicts like horrid people entertainingly. This is just kind of like these people are just banal. And like what is it about this story? And we ask that question a lot about movies that we watch. It's like what is it about this story that like made him like go, yeah, this is great. And this is again originally I guess the Six Mortal Tales somewhere along the line I read was that they were going to be novels. He was going to write these, and then it's like I don't know if anyone would ever talk about these. This is kind of like not even Lolita stuff. This is like a guy who seems to have this vague challenge, and it's like kind of are these amoral characters, and you're kind of watching these movies, bad dudes essentially.
Bad dudes.
I think for the most part, because I don't think Romer's like, yeah, this is fine either necessarily. But yeah, I mean, I'm not, when we get to like who hates this, pretty well like all the 0.5-star 1-star reviews are exactly what you'd expect.
about grooming and
yeah, I mean, it's kind of
yeah.
like, I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is like that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's nothing in the movie that makes me go, it's presented in an interesting way, which justifies watching it. It's kind of just like, I don't know. I mean, it just seems kind of boring in an intellectual way, where you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah. So you want to hear my take?
Absolutely, RJ. What did you think of Claire's knee?
I mean, it's already what you think, but it's like, yeah, it's 2 hours of like a gross old dude like lusting over the knees of teenagers, and you're just like,
that's hilarious.
You're like, okay. And so like here's what I'll say too. I'm not a huge fan of like Todd salons and stuff like that, but I do see why you and like many other people like those movies, because as you said, he kind of makes those characters like interesting. But this movie, yeah, it's just this old dude who's just like, hey kiddo, and is like, and like, as I said, he pulls up on his boat like every 5 minutes. He's like, are you guys alone? And they're like, no. And he's like, okay. And then he like drives off.
But the movie,
and then he'll come back when they're alone.
For someone who's never seen this though, it's really important to like point out that this is like shot in this very like pastoral European way.
Sure.
There's like, it's like there's it feels very to me, I felt like, not maybe objective is a strong word for it, but kind of very matter of fact. And
it just is what it is.
It's not trying to amp up anything or making you feel cringed out per se. It's not like, oh man, this girl's looking like she's really uncomfortable. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, this guy's just like, you're supposed to draw your own conclusion. And I'm like, what? I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. I don't care.
I know. That's what I drew my own conclusion. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, it's that. And then even in the movie, there's stories about like other creepy dudes. They're like, oh yeah, there's a tennis guy. He likes to steal the balls, so the girls have to come over. And you're like, are you saying that he's better or worse or the same as this guy? Like, what's the intent of this story?
And then Aurora's baned her younger men.
Yeah, and she's like, I had sex with young guys.
And then you go, nice. Right, RJ?
Yeah, and then he's like, I would also like to touch the knee of this lady. And then you go, okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't. To me, this is the worst of all of the Rohmers, where I was just like, that's like, even after last week when you and Sam were defending, we're not defending. You're just like, yeah, you're like, think about this, consider that, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then I went into this one. I was like, yeah, sure, fine, sure. And I watched this and I was like, no. And this is the last I'll bring it up. I'll just say, I find it strange that this dude, to me, is making so many movies about guys that I feel like fall in this same camp, where it's just like weird old dudes like this. And it's like, yeah, I know he doesn't have to be that guy, but it's weird. It's the only story he wants to tell, almost.
What if you were a filmmaker who made action movies about violent people? Would that tell you
you're super into it? Yeah,
the director's violent.
I would imagine that'd be the guy. It's like if you brought him like the wrong coffee, he'd like knock the coffee over and be like, "Son of a bitch."
Sometimes the problem with these like these conceits of like, well, I'm going to tell 6 moral tales, and I'm stuck with that because I said that at the beginning of an intertitle one time. And I'm going to do it 6 times, and maybe when I first started, they were going to be 20-minute long black and white films, and then but now I'm like, oh, I got to keep doing this. And I got to think about things that I want to do with that. And I'm kind of like, well, the thematic here is that it's all dudes. And I can't, if I change it up, that might be significant. So I can't change it up. Yeah. But I think that like when we get to Love in the Afternoon, it feels very different.
It is different.
Yeah.
Are you saying that's kind of like when you sign a contract to be in Marvel movies and you're like, I guess I'm just like bleep blorp for the next 15 years.
But you got to eat only poached chicken breast.
Only poached chicken breast. That's like, I don't know if when he was alive, R.I.P., Chadwick Boseman, there was that thing where he was doing the Wakanda thing, and like he did it, and then it was like the camera that kept filming, and he was just like, as soon as he was done, his face just like goes into like absolute like misery, and he's just like, that's his life now forever. For or it's like all these Marvel actors,
and it kind of was,
and it was your life forever, and it's just like, yeah, 6 moral tales, that's your life, baby. But yeah, Kleisny is not good. But here's what I'll say: Love in the Afternoon, I do think, is the exception to the Rohmer picks, and it's one that I actually think this was the only one out of all 6 that I was kind of like, I kind of get why this is here.
Because you could be like, aha, a morality.
The moral of the story, baby. Like
I get it. I got it.
I'm not saying it's a good, like it's real good or anything like that. Don't get it twisted, baby.
Whoa.
I'm just saying it's like this was the only one I was like, okay. I was like, I'm getting something out of this at least. I see.
Yeah.
But you tell me about Love in the Afternoon.
Love in the Afternoon, 1972. Synopsis. The last of Rohmer's 6 moral stories. Frederick leads a bourgeois life. He is a partner in a small Paris office and is happily married to Helene, a teacher expecting her second child. Mm-hmm. In the afternoons, Frederick daydreams about other women, but has no intention of taking any action. One day, Chloe, who had been a mistress of an old friend, begins dropping by his office. They meet as friends, irregularly in the afternoons, till eventually Chloe decides to seduce Frederick, causing him a moral dilemma.
Morals, baby.
You know, not once in the synopsis does it mention turtlenecks.
It is a prominent and pretty critical plot point in this movie, Jarrett.
Well, because this Frederick guy, his default is the turtleneck. He demands a turtleneck, and then at one point he's got the plaid, tight, fitted, nearly right off the rack, fitted plaid, which is like upsetting to him. But when it shows up, watch out, folks.
Yep.
And we get like the Doctor Strange amulet.
That's the only part in this movie that I was like, this is dumb. I get it because like his thing, he's just like, yeah, I think about other women. He's like, but I'm not gonna do anything. But his thing's pretty stupid. What if women couldn't say no to me? And I was like, there's the Rohmer in this movie. It is.
And so all the women in that montage were all from the previous Rohmer films, all the 6 moral tales.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I did notice that.
So, yeah. Okay. So this movie, again, sometimes talking about the plot beats of these films, it's like pretty self-explanatory. There's not a lot to these movies in terms of plot. This one returns to the inner monologue, which does not exist in Claire's Knee.
Mm-hmm. Which would be horrifying if it did.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because I think the guy's just like, he feels like a himbo.
Yes. Yeah. In that one for sure. Yeah. But I mean, if you have inner monologue about a guy wanting to touch a knee, I feel like about 10 minutes into that, you'd be like, yeah. But this guy's inner monologue, I actually kind of liked. There was a line in it, like when he's just talking about walking with the people.
Yep.
He says he's content to be carried by the current, and he's just talking about like, he's like, yeah, I just like to blend in with people, just walk around, I'm part of the crowd. The opening 10 minutes of him just like describing like life, I was like, this isn't bad. I was like, this is more my speed.
Yes, that is actually when with the opening kind of like monologue of his as he's walking around. I was like, oh, RJ's gonna like this a lot more.
Yeah. And I did. I did think it was more my speed.
I think in general, I think this movie in general is just far more palatable. I think from a viewing experience. Probably, I'm not sure. I'd have to actually check to see if this was technically more commercially successful. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, because I think, there is something that happens with the new wave guys as they kind of go on. Their movies, I think, become like they smooth out the not the abject stuff, but like just like their roughness and like kind of the alienating stuff. Because this just feels like a conventional movie in a lot of ways. In some, for the most part, like the way it's delivered, it reminds me of what did we just watch? With the whole family being mean.
The whole family was mean?
Yeah, oh shit. What's his name? The Marcel
Carne Lassalle?
You know what I'm talking about. They're like the fur family. They're making the fur clothes. The furriers.
Oh,
but not the furries. Yeah, with the director who's also plays the dad.
The guy who was like hitting the lady and
Yeah,
stuff.
shit. What's the title of the movie?
Anus Amore.
There we go.
Anus Amore.
There we go. This is more in that like style of like contemporary French cinema, which I feel is just a lot more watchable than the previous stuff. But he was getting there, I think, with L'Électionneuse and even with Claire's Knee, which is why I was able to fall. I was like kind of involved with the movie to a point for the first hour because I was like, I'm curious where this is going to go. 11 in the Afternoon sustains that interest, I think. So, yeah, very simply, we have our boy, Frederick. He is getting ready to go to work. He works in an office that he has a business with a partner, and you never see them actually do anything. But he's got secretaries.
You don't see him doing anything, but you know he's busy.
Yeah, he's very successful, but it's like you never actually see the work. It's kind of like when Harry Met Sally, where these people have apparently jobs, but you never see them work in their life. It never seems to impact anything they do.
I mean, people probably think the same thing about you and me. They're like, all these guys do is do 5, 7,
that's why
15-hour podcasts.
That's why it's important that at the beginning of this podcast I talk about work. So have a job.
For the illusion.
Because people talk about their job. Like they talk about the weather.
Yeah.
And they talk about knees of teenagers. So
some
do. Some. And he has a regular life, and he's kind of like, he's got that wandering eye with no intention of following through on these maybe faint impulses he might have, other than like, ever since I got married and stuff like that, I never even I didn't really find like random women on the street all that attractive. But now it's like, man, I see a woman and I'm like, man, she's hot. All these, and it's like, I never felt it before. I don't understand why. But I'm not gonna do anything about that though. It's just what it is, and it's about his like inner justifications of this process, and it kind of sets up this character for when this, I don't know what you call, but more bohemian woman compared to him, who works at bars. Has like
travels when she feels like it.
Travels about, and also kind of drove a friend of his like almost to suicide because she left him so brokenhearted, and now she's kind of shown up and she's all like chatty and stuff like that, and hanging out, and he's kind of like, oh, she's showing a little bit of interest in me. My wife and I, we barely really see each other, and when we do, we just we sit in the same room and read, and don't even interact. I mean, clearly must have had intercourse recently as she's pregnant again.
Maybe.
Maybe. But so there's a relationship, but it seems like a shell of one. And he's like justifying to himself and to the audience, because I think there's actually, it feels like an engagement with the audience that he's trying to explain away his behaviors to the audience in a relatable way, whereas in the previous films where there has been a voiceover narration, it's like he's telling you why you should be on the same page as him. If that makes sense. Like, this guy seems like kind of a nicer guy. A nice guy.
He's kind of just like, this is my deal, and that's who I am. And he says, thank you for your time. See you later.
Thank you.
Says, thank you. See you later.
Yeah. So then so Chloe comes through. She shows up the one day that Frederick and Helen go shopping with their baby. Chloe just shows up, and he makes this kind of joke about like, oh, if you haven't seen somebody for a really long time, there's like 99% chance you'll see them right away, right afterwards. And it's kind of presented in this matter-of-fact way of like any jealousy that Helen might kind of have of kind of like this like weird little like, there's something off about this. It's downplayed. It's not like it's her, but it's like there's something there. There's a little bit of tension that's left there. It's handled, I guess, in a fairly realistic way. I guess the way their marriage is sort of like feels like a kind of like a non-marriage, but it's also from the perspective of the way the movie's shot and also Frederick and how the film's edited, where it does seem like kind of like this marriage is very slight, and that it seems like he has more of a relationship going on with Chloe, but that's also because of the drama is drawn toward that, I guess. But clearly, everybody around them suspects something's amiss. Like the secretaries are just like kind of blatantly like giggling and laughing, like, "Oh, well, Chloe's back. Oh, Chloe dropped off some baby clothes. Oh, Chloe came by because she wants a reference. Oh, she wants to maybe get a job here? Can you help her get a job?" And there's sort of this like back and forth in terms of like what she wants from him. And sometimes it feels like he's being taken advantage of, and he feels resentful about it. But then he also feels relieved that, oh, she was just using me, and now she's moved on. But after she stopped coming by every day, maybe I feel a little weird about that. And then when she comes back, I'm really like, hey, you see my turtleneck?
What else does he talk about with his turtlenecks?
The fit.
Oh yeah. All he cares about is the turtlenecks. That's all he cares.
It's he goes clothes shopping.
And he says, and they go, "This is a really nice shirt.
What about that color? I want more turtlenecks."
He said, and even his wife, he all he talks about is turtlenecks. And then when he comes home, she's like, "You went shopping?" He's like, "Yeah, I think I maybe got taken." And she says, "Let me guess, another turtleneck." And he says, "Actually, is a shirt." He says, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, this guy's all about turtlenecks.
Yeah.
All about turtlenecks. And he doesn't eat lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that which I thought was probably the funniest line in this thing. "I don't eat lunch. I just have a sandwich in the afternoon."
Yeah.
And you go, "Buddy, that's lunch."
Well, there is these funny things where he takes his lunch late, and he's like, "I like to do it because no one else is doing it." And then, like, the guy he randomly runs into, he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody's out walking around. It's not like everybody's like just the streets just empty out. Like, that guy's got a bag. Well, we don't know what's in there."
Yeah, he's got some funny ideas, Jarrett.
He's a mook. He's an average. He's not a loser. He's just he's an average guy.
Joe Schmo.
Like everyone, like all of us. We're all mooks.
Yeah. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? So anyway, baby's had. There's a baby, and then they have an au pair, who's a naked lady apparently, with a real perm going on. That's quite the perm that lady's got.
I'm trying to think for a second.
Like the blonde, super curly short hair.
Yeah.
But there's a bit where it's like, I think they walk away from the baby. The baby starts crying. This woman comes like out of the bathroom. She's just completely naked, and he goes to go check on the baby. He's like, "Whoa!" Yeah, he's like, "Oh my goodness!"
So, oh my god.
Yeah. But then Chloe appears, and she's got a new haircut, new makeup, but she's in and out of work, and no one really knows what her goals are. But then she starts honing in on Frederick. There's these interludes, these meetings that they're having in the afternoon, over and over and over again. And there's this building that something's going to happen, and then soon enough, they're just like, they're canoodling a little bit. They're very intimate, and they're hugging and caressing and touching. And you're like, well, this is an affair.
Yeah, it might not be sexual, but it's definitely an emotional affair, I guess.
Yeah,
kind of right. Like until it's more.
But he keeps explaining. It's like, well, it's not really.
He said, "I just like to hang out with this lady any free time I got.
Yeah.
We cuddle, and we hang out and we cuddle." And then you go, okay.
And sometimes we kind of hang out in like near a bed in a room.
And you go, okay.
So yeah, so then I guess like maybe Chloe starts realizing, well, maybe I'm not gonna be able to get into like break up this guy's marriage and he'll live with me because that won't last. But maybe we can just continue this on, and that's okay. But I gotta convince him of that though.
Mm-hmm.
And the polyamory, it starts being floated.
Well, for her, and he considers it, but he doesn't really talk about it with his wife. So I feel like that's the person you got to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you got to talk to him, then it's probably not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Or else you'd already know that it was gonna happen.
This is sort of jumping the gun on that front.
Maybe.
So anyway, it's kind of it all kind of climaxes at the end of the film.
Yes.
Where you get a very like kind of big emotional rush because I think Helen knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
And they can't talk about it, and then we get this affirmation of their love, and it's very sad and very real and really good, and then the movie just ends.
Just before that happens,
with them running off the bang.
Yeah, but before the affirmation of love, that is where it's the one scene where it's like, are they at like the affair? It's like, is it gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna do it?
Some real naked caressing of bodies.
Before that, though, what happens when you try to take off a turtleneck, Jarrett? What happens?
It depends. Do you want to be like kind of like an extension of a submarine, like be a periscope man?
Is kind of like Cornholio, Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, Frederick needs some TP for his bunghole.
Well, he is French, so you know what they say.
You know about bungholes?
Well, I know more now.
Yeah, that happens. That happens a couple times with the turtleneck.
Yeah, it does quite a bit. Well, turtlenecks they're a whole thing, man.
Double-edged sword.
But when you make it like the linchpin to your entire movie, you gotta like really use it.
Yeah, you gotta lean into that.
Yeah, which is strange, but oh well.
Yeah.
Tell me more about how what you thought about.
Well, I mean, so if I was going to point someone toward one of these here 6 Mortal Tales, I think the first short's fine to watch because it's like 20 minutes. And then you don't have to watch Suzanne's career. And yeah, I would say watch Love in the Afternoon. If you're just a mook.
Just a little mook?
Yeah.
A little mookie boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mookie boys.
Yeah. No, I thought Love in the Afternoon, I thought was very nice looking movie. Good performances. The narration's good. I found it kind of delivers on the way that I think movies that I will watch or tend to watch kind of works on. I don't love this movie by any means, but I think it's more in line, I guess, with fine Criterion films, whereas this has been a trial. Getting through these double headers for the last 6 weeks or whatever, it feels like forever. But it feels like a very long time that we've been watching these, and it hasn't really been a great time.
Yeah.
I got to tell you. But Love in the Afternoon was like, I don't even know if I would call it a high note. I would just say, it's like, hey, this was all right.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the best pile of shit is still a pile of shit. You know what I mean? The best piece of shit is still shit. Yeah, so like I said, I do think this was definitely the one I enjoyed the most. It's been a trial. I still don't know what morals are.
Nope.
I'm still struggling with that, but hey, that's what this podcast is about. I still think Eric Rohmer's a real creep. Not a Criterion creep, but I think he's like an actual one. So like, and I know people don't agree with me, but I don't care. I think this guy's gross, and that's fine. But this one, Love in the Afternoon, like, I did think like it was the one that was like like you said, kind of like the most accessible or the easiest to watch. Where it was just like, yeah, this dude, he's trying his best. Is he going to do it? I don't know. Is he not going to do it? You don't know. Seems like real life stuff. I like all the turtleneck stuff. I did like the opening dialogue. I think is the best. I don't think it hits that stuff again. Like once new characters come in, but it's playful. It's not overly creepy. The girl's kind of creepy. She's got some energy.
She's aggressive.
She's like, I don't want to be homeless. Let's have an affair. And you go, okay. So she's a bit much, but some ladies are a bit much.
It's a survival film.
It's a survival film. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't know. I think 11 in the Afternoon is definitely the one that I tolerated out of all of these.
I was gonna say the Chloe type that's a lot of red flags.
She's got a few, man. She's got a few. Constantly changing apartments, constantly changing jobs, and you're like, maybe you're just down on your luck.
Disappearing
for weeks at a time. Just showing up in places.
A real free spirit, RJ.
Yeah. I mean, she shows up the one time and he's like, I have no interest in being friends. Thank you. Goodbye. And then she comes back and then you go,
Yeah. Well, this is the thing with these like two movies. I mean, I don't want to be near people like Jerome or Chloe.
No.
And then like people like Aurora, they will have nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Because they're doing weird things in resorts, making people, I don't know, do things to themselves, and then they're like, I'm gonna write about this.
Kind of like it'd be like if it was Jackass, but not for fun. It would just be like, here's $100, drink your own pee, and I'm gonna watch. But like, it's not being done for humor. It's being done for like not humor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
but
I
it's
mean?
like, I want you to get someone else to drink this pee.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, like in a mean way,
Yeah.
And you go, that's mean, and then you go, yeah, that is mean.
Then I want you to come back and tell me about how you did it.
Yeah, in a mean way.
Not relatable content.
Not relatable. But yeah,
it's like what? It's like who is into this? But I mean, Vincent Cambeek said it was almost perfect.
Unbelievable. But yeah, 11 in the Afternoon was the one that I found the most watchable, and Claire's Knee I found one of the lowest in recent watchings for me, where I went, nah. I just said nah. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
I haven't even begun to think how to rank these things.
I'm putting them all together, I think, because it's the only way that's appropriate.
To a lump sum.
Yeah, except for Claire's Knee. I dropped that down a little bit.
Is that one going to go, find itself in a new tier? Is it going to be joining some very close personal friends?
Let's just say that if it was between Claire's Knee and Dog Shit Man, I might be watching Dog Shit Man. You know what I mean, Jer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Or you could just not watch anything.
Yeah, I could just watch Star Trek or Jackass.
Exactly.
Or Back to the Future, apparently, because that's what everyone thinks we watch. Or everyone thinks I watch, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, weird movies. And Eric Rohmer, 100% weird dude.
Oh.
100%. He's like my opinion, man.
You're going to hear from his estate.
Well, I mean, it'd be hard for him to argue if they like hit me with the suit. They're like, that's slander. I'd be like, all right, judge and jury, here's Claire's Knee. Say, what do you guys think?
Well, here is a movie. That's evidence of nothing, sir. Yeah. And you go, shut up.
Say, shut up, nerd. Say, you're just like that guy in that one movie.
Mm-hmm. And then you can go on Rumble and start making videos.
Yeah.
About Hollyweird.
It's
what?
Yeah, it's weird.
Thank you for yawning into all of our ears, RJ.
If I have to stay up, so does everyone else, and they have to hear about it. God dang it.
I want to hear from people who hated Love in the Afternoon. God, we already know what Claire's Knee people have to say. You can just imagine.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree. Claire's Knees people is pretty much what we said. So
yeah. So first of all, we got Sparkly Bunny with half a star.
course.
Problematic. Gosh, I just hated this so much. If I could rate it less, I would. Rohmer, have you passed your prime? See, this movie was ugly. Ugly. All in all, it's a skip for me. Rohmer, I thought you were different. I thought you were my main man. I thought I could rely on you for afternoon comfort movies, but ugliness is everywhere.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the one to say that stuff about. This person's favorite films are The Little Hours, Thelma, Out of Sight, and Virgin Suicides. And then they gave half a star to this movie, half a star to Inglourious Bastards, Jarrett.
Whoa.
Half a star to Happiness.
Oh.
And half a star to Venom. Remember Venom, Jarrett?
Yeah.
Remember?
It's been a while.
But it's back now. All I need is one little bump and it'll be back.
You forgot all about it.
Forget all about Venom until you don't. Until you don't.
Let's see here. What else we got? We got CSS Mister. Sismister. Half a star. Hard to believe in this movie or get over the weak plot. Plus, everyone speaks in English, but it's set in France? What?
What? No, was this not a subtitled movie?
It sure was.
What the fuck is this guy talking about? This person, their bio says, or their like thing says, every movie is 5 stars, but then they have many films that are rated not 5 stars. Favorite films include Wings of Desire, In the Cut, Love Streams, and With Nail and I. And then some half-star films include Jarrett's favorite Anchorman, Jarrett's favorite Elf, Jarrett's favorite The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Jarrett's favorite The Grinch from Adam Egerton Mintz. But they also half-starred Rosemary's Baby and Citizen Kane. So it's weird. No?
Man,
it's weird.
RJ, I'm just in the process of like my ranking for the last 46 films, and since Spine 301, and goddamn,
yes,
this is rough. This has been.
I don't know if you know, but we don't have good movies again until maybe October.
Oh no.
There's like 1 or 2, but I did a look ahead, and the only things that even remotely caught my eye aren't for like 4 months. So
damn.
Just FYI.
Shane's thoughts, 1 star. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't really paying attention to this movie because I had a split screen and was shopping for Xmas gifts on the other tab. But what I saw when I was watching was boring. Although the dialogue was nice, lol. Also my first Rohmer film.
This person 1 star to Ventura. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
good for you, man. Good for you. This person, all these people have been from Canada, strangely.
Interesting.
Yeah. They say, I personally think I deserve a seat at the Oscar judge panel.
What?
Okay. Apparently their favorite films are just movies that have the word P or the letter P in them. Pride and Prejudice, Phantom Fred, The Piano Teacher, and then Dirty Dancing, which doesn't have a P, but
it sure doesn't.
But well, I mean, Patrick Swayze sure brought the P in penis.
Amelia Langus,
yeah,
1.5 stars. Couldn't get through it. The misogyny was too much for me, so why force myself to watch? Life is short. You're right, Amelia. Life is short.
Why am I short? I didn't find this movie misogynistic. I don't know. Maybe that means I'm bad. But,
well, I mean, you did find the monologue narration very relatable.
I didn't say relatable,
yeah,
but I
think you were saying. I think you were like. I thought you were. I think the whole time you were going. Same. I liked what they were saying. This person likes Ida, Ex Machina,
Eternal Sunshine, and Carol. Carol. They only have seen 400 films, so
why
they're not an avid user, I would say.
Sometimes I go, really? Why would you watch these movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will just read real quick here on Claire's Knee. You got a half star. No, I don't think lusting after underage people is normal. Seek help. It's like, define underage. It's like, these are the things. It's like, no, I get it, but at the same time.
I mean, this same person, Jarrett. The same person.
Yeah.
I don't know. They gave half a star to Call Me by Your Name, and that checks out.
Yeah.
Because that's also a weird underage thing. But they half starred Blair Witch. Blair Witch is a good movie.
And a half star. I just don't get how could people love this movie so much. It's clearly romanticizes pedophilia, and it's just not okay to do that. It doesn't matter if you're trying to pass some deep message or something. In the end, it's a story about a disgusting 40 years old man sexually harassing teenagers. I hate this movie, and I hate the fact that it was the first Eric Rohmer's movie that I've ever seen. I really hope that his other movies are better than this.
Nope.
Well, they might be, technically.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. They have starred Scary Movie 2, Jarrett.
Ooh.
You know about Scary Movie 2?
Damon, half a star. For the past 12 years, I have been watching films off the top 1,000 list from theyshootpictures.com. There are some true gems on the list, and then there's Claire's Knee, a dated piece of garbage that should be titled Jerome's Hand.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I like it.
You know what I mean? I like that. This person's got some movies that are decent. They just 1.5 starred that Top Gun Maverick. Although I've heard nothing but good things about Top Gun Maverick. But they also half-starred Old, the M. Night Shyamalan movie about when you go to the beach and you turn old, so that's cool. Oh, 5 stars to American movie. Hey, all right. 5 stars to Henry, A Portrait of a Serial Killer. Hey, all right. Oh, 5 stars to Necromantic. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for movies.
Yeah. And just a bunch of people talking about pedophilia.
Sure.
On Letterboxd.
Sure. Where else are you going to do it?
Where else? Any final thoughts on these two films and Six Moral Tales? What a box set.
Eric Rohmer doesn't come back, does he?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I hope so. And then Sam will come back on, right? That's the best
I would
part.
like to say now that I genuinely would not like to watch any more of this person's films.
Well,
genuinely.
It looks like ER comes back. I don't know. There's this. Shop the collection. Search the Criterion. Now there's the films on the channel. Hold up. I gotta click a button here. Okay, let's get past this. Ooh, that is nope. I think you might be in the clear.
Good.
Maybe.
Good.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Well, after the break, we go,
yes.
I don't know.
With it.
I don't know. We burned our Eric Rohmer box set that we didn't buy. We cancel our subscription to the Criterion channel.
After the break, Jarrett touches a knee.
My knee.
His knee.
I'm touching it right now. With consent.